Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to today's video. My name is Chris. I'm a creative entrepreneur, and in this video, I'm gonna tell you why you should stop doing free work and start doing spec work. And in this video, I will specifically describe what spec work is, how to go best about doing it, and what benefits it will bring you. But before we get started, be sure to check out my ebook, The Self-Employed Handbook. It is for free in the description box below. Let's get started. All right, so number one, what is spec work? Spec work stands for speculation work, where essentially as a creative, whether you're a photographer, videographer, editor, graphic designer, you can speculate what a client that you might want to work with needs. So whether this be a brand, whether this be a company, whether this be an entrepreneur or a person, you can essentially look at their social media and everything that they do and be like, you know what if they did this? But instead of sending them an email and being like, hey, my name's Chris. I'm an adventure travel photographer and videographer. I would love to work for your brand. Can you tell me exactly what you would like and I'll create it for a price? Instead, what you're gonna do is jump ahead. You're gonna go out there, you're gonna research, you're gonna look at all these different aspects of what they're doing because essentially it's telling you exactly what they do. You're gonna go out there and create your own version. And it's probably one of the most fun and beneficial things I've ever done because essentially I think I'm 2 for 2 on spec work. One, I went down to Crystal Bridges down in Oklahoma, dope arboretum, filmed it because I wanted to get in some travel stuff and ended up selling it on the backside for like $500 to them. Woo! And the second one was with Path Water, the big water bottle company in the little metal tins. Ended up hitting them up in an email and got a deal as well. So, wha-cha! See how that works? But essentially, you can do the same thing too. So, let's specifically talk about how you can land spec work projects. So, number one, what you're gonna do is find a brand that you're passionate about that you'd love to work with. For instance, in this video, I'll refer to Canon USA. I would love to work with Canon. Not only that, they comment on my social media handle and I'm like, I'm gonna get Canon one day. I know it. And you know, how can I do it sooner? Well, I could create a spec work. So think of the company that you wanna work with and think why you wanna work with them. And essentially what you're gonna do is research from their website to their social media handles. God, that's a word to say. And then you're also gonna look at creatives that they've already worked with, whether this be brand ambassadors, YouTubers, because what you're gonna see is essentially there's a specific style, and be sure you look at more stuff that's recent, right? Because companies, when they're branding and they're marketing, though they keep a pretty solid branding, they might change their marketing methods and they might be doing more TikTok content now or more YouTube content and so forth. So, I mean, for even instance, like if we're talking about Canon USA, they'll repost photographers' photos on their Instagram, and then they post a ton of YouTube videos through creatives like Sam Newton, Carl Shakur, and then I think Kelsey Kawai actually does a lot of the photography or stuff that you see on the handle. But essentially, like Canon even has the ambassadors of light or the seekers of light. So they have all these different channels and stuff that people are creating with Canon. But when you look at it, there's one thing in common. They're really clean images and they're just beautiful. They're so well shot, and then I see they're shooting on the same camera as I am, and I'm like, how'd they do that? So you gotta find your brand, and you gotta think like, what is the company putting out there? What are the creatives who are working with them putting out there? Because essentially what you're gonna do is reverse engineer it. It's already out there. So what essentially say like Canon or the company you wanna work with, they gave that creative or that person guidelines and was like, here is what we need you to create. Here are the guidelines. So it's out there. All you have to do is pull it off the internet and research it and break it down, and then you can reverse engineer it. And essentially I even did this with like a Sam Colder video. I was like, that's a dope video. So I watched it and then I kind of broke up the sequences and I was like, oh, that's a lot easier than I thought. But you know, he already spearheaded and did it. And then I was like, let's just create our own version of it. So essentially what you're gonna do is do all these methods, do all this research, look at the brand, you know, their marketing, all their channels of social media and creatives they work with, and then you're gonna create a battle plan. And your battle plan should be to create a piece of work that is the same length. So if it's a video, it's gonna be the length. If it's a photo, it's gonna be like the same dimension. You know, you get the gist of it. It's graphics. Try to keep the art similar, but apply your own style to it. Because what you're gonna do is finish this product, and then you're gonna reach out to the company. Not only that, you're gonna post it on social media and tag them, because here's the best part. Even if they don't buy it from you, it's going to be a dope marketing asset for you in your portfolio. Because essentially, and if they work with you, number one, you're gonna get more money, you're gonna get the brand that you've always wanted, but essentially what you're doing is you're letting go of free work where you're not interested in it, you're doing it to get exposure, and you're probably going to get drained from it. Where this is like stress-free creativity. You have zero pressure because they aren't paying you. You're creating from passion and purpose, and you're also doing it for a reason to connect you to your future version of yourself, which I think is super dope. And then in the end of it, I always believe as a creative, and I see this all the time in my workflow, is like what you put out is what comes back to you. So if you're creating stuff that's aligned with you, that you're passionate about, and you find fulfillment in, more of that work's going to attract in. So even if this project doesn't land with that company or brand, number one, they're going to be watching you because they like ambitious people like you who are trying to solve their problems. Number two is by putting it out there, like I said, you're going to attract more in, and people who align with the same values are going to follow you on Instagram or YouTube. They're going to start doing the same things or they're going to try to start working with you as well because they see somebody out there who's like them, but instead of dreaming, you're out here creating. And by creating and putting it out there, you're giving yourself a better shot than I'd say like 80% of people who will reach out and be like, hi, I'm so-and-so and I'd love to work with you. You're like, never mind. Like, I would love to work with you. Here's something I created, and I would just like to learn more about what your company's vision is. How could I make this better? You kind of get the gist. And then by putting it on social media, you're going to attract local companies, maybe even bigger companies. Essentially, you're creating the best piece of marketing material for yourself to help move forward. And you're doing it with ease. You're doing it out of passion. You're doing it out of creativity. But essentially what you're doing is just vocalizing everything that you want and creating it for yourself. And then worst case scenario, like I said, if this doesn't work, you don't get to work with the brand, maybe it doesn't market for you, you have a dope portfolio piece. And when a client, hits you up and is like, yo, what's your dopest portfolio piece I'd like to see before we work together? You can send them that, and you're going to be so proud of it because there's no budget behind it. And that's what I see with a lot of projects I do too, is like, I make a dope project, but it would be so much doper if they would have paid the full budget versus on this project, I'm able to go all the way in on it because it's something I'm passionate about. It's something that I really enjoy, and there's not a price tag, and there's not time, and there's not somebody else's needs. It's just me, what I want to create, and how I can best align with all the companies out there that I want to work with. So, guys, once again, stop doing free work. Say no to that shit. Don't do it anymore and start doing spec work. Figure out who you can even work with in spec work to create something better, because even if you build it as a team, you're going to be blown away with what spec work can bring you and the opportunities that it will land in your lap by essentially just pursuing your dreams, chasing your passions, and creating something that is absolutely meaningful to you. Peace out, y'all. Have a good day, and be sure to check out the Self-Employed Handbook. Once again, it's for free in the description box below. Have a great rest of your day and kick some ass.